Good morning, friends. So, quiet of the morning. Maybe it's first thing in the morning for some of you. Just out of bed time of the morning. Maybe for others it's a little way into the morning, either because of your time zone or just because you like to get up early, or maybe you don't like to get up early but life wakes you up early, so you're up early anyway. Either way, here we are. It's always interesting, on the one hand, to be constantly confronted with one's personal circumstance. Body like this morning, mind like this morning, world like this morning. And one's personal circumstance in terms of the currents of one's life, the issues or occupations that you might have these days, roles and responsibilities that press on you in various ways. All of that, right? All of what we might call one's personal circumstance. And we've all got the joys and sorrows, the blessings and the challenges of our personal circumstance. And so on the one hand, that's often what we call my life, the stuff that's going on in my personal circumstance. And then, on the other hand, the invitation of Dharma practice to, on the one hand, really care for our personal circumstance, and on the other hand, to sort of see through our personal circumstance, so that it's not all-consuming, so that the stuff of I and me and my doesn't take up all the space. It's kind of radical for most people. Most people are just swimming constantly in the waters, or maybe even thrashing around in the waters of personal circumstance. But what else is there? Like right now, as you sit here, here's the stuff of my personal circumstance, the way body is, the way mind is, the way world, sensory world is right now, and the way the rhythms and currents of my life are unfolding, the stories, what I know I have to do today, etc., etc. What else is there? Beyond personal circumstance, or we might say actually at the very heart of personal circumstance, shining through personal circumstance, is something sacred, something limitless, something that's not of the order of I and me and mine. The kind of just the miracle of consciousness, the very fact that we're able to perceive, the very fact that there is a body, a mind, and a world. The very fact that there's anything at all is profoundly mysterious. It's a mystery that doesn't even resolve itself. It's a mystery that just actually keeps opening itself up more and more. We never resolve the mystery of who we are or what this is. But as we attune to that mystery more and more, it opens up more and more, and we find ourselves more and more at home in it. More and more a recognizable expression ourselves. Maybe more important, more fundamental, let's say, more fundamental than the stuff of my body and my mind and my heart and my life. More fundamental than that, there's this way in which I kind of recognize all of that body, mind, world, life stuff as the expressions of life, knowing itself, living itself, perceiving itself, exploring itself here. It's what we called, I think, a day or two ago. We spoke about that sense of us being an organ of consciousness, or an organ of life, knowing of itself. And that can seem confusing or obtuse or esoteric even. But we're not looking for that in some deep inner recess of ourselves. We're seeing it in the seeing. We're hearing it in the hearing. We're sensing it in the sensing. There's a fundamental way in which what you're seeing is less significant than the very fact that there is seeing. What you're thinking is much less significant than just the very fact that there can be thinking. This Dharma nature, this natural intelligence, this life force, this endless generativity of the universe that keeps on somehow, for now, pumping this blood and inflating these lungs and animating this consciousness. Amazing. The theme this week, and for those of you who are new, I speak for 10 minutes or so, and then we have half an hour of meditation, and then a little chance for questions afterwards. The theme of this week is naturalness. And once again, this morning I had intended to speak about something else. I was going to speak about the elements today as a way into naturalness. But that's not what came out. It's something about this interplay between personal circumstance and the sacred, or the profound, the limitless, the immeasurable, that is constantly revealing itself in the midst of personal circumstance, shining through personal circumstance, and yet also simultaneously independent of personal circumstance. That's what allows us to take our personal circumstance less personally. And still take it, seriously. We need to care for body and mind and life and our roles and responsibilities. But what if all of that was happening in recognition of the limitless, the sacred, shining through all of that? So that we have the sense that whatever's going on in personal circumstance, and plenty of things can go wrong, and plenty of things will go wrong, inevitably, like we were saying yesterday about health and illness and aging. It's like, well, that's going to fail, Personal circumstance, despite some brief moments of pleasure and success, we could say personal circumstance is bound to go wrong. It's the only way personal circumstance can go is towards aging, sickness, and death. Right? And then in the midst of that, the more we attune to what I'm calling this morning the sacred and the limitless, shining through that, the more we realize that fundamentally nothing can go wrong. Nothing can go wrong. Life isn't going wrong. Life can't go wrong. Life's infinite, vast, immeasurable reach, life's infinite generativity, life's infinite aliveness, is utterly unperturbed by anything that goes on in my personal circumstance. And, and that life is not an abstract. That life is here. It's here. It's here. It's moving these fingers. It's coming up with these words. So that's the challenge, the invitation, the blessing of our practice. To take care of our personal circumstance while resting into that which animates and allows and is free in the midst of our personal circumstance. So both of those elements really come into meditation, right? We set up our personal circumstance. We take up a posture. We give some uplift in our back. We open our shoulders. Soften into meditation. We give attention to breathing. We bring our attention again and again here to where we are. That's the personal circumstance of meditation. But we're also just feeling for just the miracle that any of that is possible. Resting into that which expands the in-breath, which softens the out-breath, which drops into that silent stillness between breaths. So as we sit together this morning, we'll take care of the mechanics of meditation. And we'll also look through them, beyond them, into the heart of them. It's just to lean a little into the mystery of being here, the incomprehensibility of being here, the boundlessness of being here. So please take your seat for meditation. So set up your posture. Feel the groundedness of legs, feet on the floor or on the earth. Just really let your attention come into that downward pressure of a sitting body, the density of those sensations. So, attending to the uprightness of your posture, sitting in a way that's bright, feeling a sense of the length of your spine, with that little inward curve in your lower back, the length of your neck, the balance of your head. Opening up the front of your body, rolling your shoulders back a little, a sense of an undefended chest, open, receptive. And also resting into your posture. Letting your muscles and your face, just letting your eyes and jaw soften. Letting your tongue relax in your mouth. Letting the inside of your ears relax. And letting that quality of ease and gentleness and relaxation just pour down, drain down through your neck and your shoulders, along the length of your arms and hands, down through your chest into your belly. as if there's a deep pool, a wide, deep, dark pool of water deep in your belly. And that all your attention and all your tensions are gently pouring down into that pool. A pool of embodied presence. A deep, still pool. And the way that pool just ripples a little. And the first muscular movements down in your belly of the in-breath. And then the way the relaxation of the out-breath stills the ripples in that pool. So we're sitting, and we're breathing, and we're really tracking the expansiveness of the in-breath and the relaxation of the out-breath and the still moment between breaths, but without leaving your belly. So that your attention is deep. Relaxed. Embodied. So that you've got a belly full of awareness. Stay in your belly. And if your attention keeps lifting off, moving away, no drama, no blame. Just use this next out-breath pour your attention back into your belly. To relax. Rest into this pool of embodied awareness. This womby awareness. Keep sensing into your belly. Settling into your belly. Softening into your belly. Letting breathing be effortless. and natural, with no regard for how long or short, how deep or shallow it might be. Letting the movement of the in-breath arise naturally out of this pool of awareness, down in your belly. Letting each out-breath rest back into this pool. And these next minutes then, practicing like this, This pool of deep embodied attention, embellied attention, is made of presence and of relaxation. And as you keep sensing into this bellyful of awareness, let the sense of this pool just expand. Awareness, after all, has no edges. And relaxation allows expansiveness. Let it expand outwards, upwards, downwards. So that the sense of awareness pervades the whole field of your experience, pervading the breath, pervading body, pervading consciousness. So that where you're sitting, more fundamentally than sitting in a body or sitting in a mind or sitting in any personal circumstance, more fundamentally, you're sitting in an ocean of awareness. You're sitting as an ocean of awareness. You become an ocean of awareness. An ocean of infinite ripples, the ripples of breathing, the ripples of sound, the ripples of thought, the ripples of feeling. The ripples arising from past, ripples that appear as the present, the ripples that point to the future. The ripples that we call inner experience or outer experience. The ripples of an alive universe. The ripples of being human. Ceaseless ripples in an infinite ocean. All the comings and goings. Within boundless, fathomless, infinite awareness. completely natural. All our personal circumstance ripples in awareness. All these ripples, each breath, each sensation, each thought, each sound, each life, each death, all these precious ripples, ripples that we find pleasant or unpleasant, welcome or unwelcome, What's the ripples of life? Where are they all happening? What's the origin of all these ripples, all these waves, all these appearances and disappearances? They all arise out of that which is boundless, that which shines through each moment, which animates all circumstance, that which is both intimate with all that happens and also independent from all that happens, that which lights up our cells, that which beats our heart, that which does all this living and dying, that which is inconceivable, unconditioned. Infinitely empty and free, and yet immanently present in each sound, in each moment. This is our most profound inheritance. This is life's invitation to us to show up in and to take care of our personal circumstance, while also letting all of this be just ripples. In the infinite ocean of awareness. Okay. So that was meditation. Nice to see broadly similar numbers to you, of you here today as earlier on in the week. Those of you who are here on Monday, remember we talked about that sense of sustaining intention through the week. And maybe in some ways we're always doing the same practice, same meditation, bringing awareness to being here, opening to very ordinary experience like breathing. And there's infinite dimensionality to that and to the ways we can orientate to that. So maybe that was a little unusual in some way, talking about pools of awareness, etc. Sometimes when we give a visual reference, pool of awareness, we can get a little carried away in trying to visualize, and there may be a visual element, but mostly important to let whatever we visualize be just a support for the felt experience. And it's interesting how when we really relax into the belly, that sense of belly as deep, dark, fluid, mysterious, can start to open up. So if following on from the meditation or the morning reflections, there are questions or things that feels like it might be helpful to explore or ask about, feel free. That's why I'm here. So yeah. And just before that, brief daily reminder of all of this being freely offered, freely shared, and really being maintained through mutual support, mutual generosity, supporting each other. So, all those who work at Sangha Live are doing that for your support, showing up here for your support. All your kind comments in the other, they're mostly, what are they about, all those comments? They're mostly about just expressing things that, supporting each other with the kind words you offer, supporting each other with reporting a little, what you find useful or helpful, etc. It's a pool of support. And all of that can only happen because of also the financial support, that your financial support is the only income Sangha Life has. It has a lot of overheads now as it becomes quite a complex operation. And it's just to remind you of that and to thank you for any support you offer. Whatever way you're able to move to contribute to that sense of mutuality, mutual support, then please feel free. Thank you. It supports me personally as the teacher this week, and supports Sangha Live and the platform and those who work here. It supports everybody else that wants to attend in being able to just show up and get some practice guidance. So your dana really is a crucial part of that pool of support. And George just posted the dana link in there. So if you feel moved and you're able to offer dana today, thank you. All right, I don't see any questions. Maybe you just all dissolved into a pool of infinite awareness in which all questions are just ripples, So we'll see. We'll see if anything arises as a further question. Joss says, hello, Joss. Beautiful oceanic space today. Nice. How to and what of this experience in sitting continues into life and the daily tasks? Well, right. So to some extent, the depth, right, or clarity of that beautiful oceanic space that you mentioned, to some extent, the clarity of it, of the perception, and the depth of feeling of that, right, belongs to formal meditation. There's a degree into which we can relax, a degree to which we can be subtle, a degree to which we can get quiet and simple in meditation that is different than in those daily tasks. So in that sense, it's like, you let go of the formality of meditation. Let go of the deep oceanic space. But at the same time, what we see is, there's something powerful, something important about the qualities that reveal that deep oceanic space, right? What are those qualities? Presence, relaxation, right? And a kind of intimacy with experience, we could say. So presence, bringing our attention back here. Relaxing, just like being within what's happening. And kind of letting that fill out. So you can bring those principles to every task, to every moment, to conversation, to washing up, to, whatever you're doing during the day. Just not so as to try to get some deep, beautiful oceanic space, but because that oceanic space in meditation reveals the potency of the fundamental qualities of practice. So gentleness, another one. So, like what I was calling sensing, settling, softening. Right. So that is how to and what of this experience, you say, continuing into life and the daily tasks. Right? I would say let that be what continues the orientation to sensing. So as you get up from here, as you go and make breakfast or whatever you're doing next, as you say, oh, you're sensing, just keep sensing, so that being here, being embodied, being embellied, feels more and more and more natural. So much so that it's like we don't really leave ourselves anymore. Or when we do notice that we've left ourselves and we've gone down some weird mental rabbit hole for a few moments, it's like, oh, we quite quickly realize something feels weird. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go. And then, oh, what I call that deep pool, it becomes like a center of gravity. Not that we're always feeling an oceanic space, but that what we are increasingly feeling is the goodness of sensing, settling, softening, and becoming increasingly just at home where we are, at home in our body, at home in an relaxed awareness. And then that sense of home, that deep pool, becomes one in which we can quite easily dissolve our various little neuroses and compulsions and dramas, because they're just ripples. They're just ripples in that vast ocean. So you don't need to be constantly feeling a sense of vast oceanic awareness to have that vastness be integrated within us. And then we feel like, oh, when we're feeling just the movement of body, it's like what I'm feeling is the ripples of sensation in what I just know, not intellectually, but I know in the movement. Like, look, just right now, you might try, just move your arms and hands a little bit. Feel the sensations. Where are the sensations happening? Where are, oh, they're happening in my hands and arms. No, they're not. They're happening in an ocean of awareness. Everything is constantly happening in an ocean of awareness. You don't need to feel oceanic to enter into the truth of that in the moments and activities of life. So, sensing, settling, softening, again and again and again, sensing, settling, softening. And that, so that it becomes more and more apparent that everything is a ripple in awareness. And to the extent that that's apparent, to that extent, we can take care of the ripples without taking them so personally. Yes. Savina is asking to draw some line between visualization and meditation. Visualization is one facet of meditation, right? But I tend to not use visualization. I don't teach visualization very much. Sometimes. Some of you have taken the Mara course with me, and we do some visualization practices in that. I would say the best ground for using visualization is actually to really get a sense of embodied presence. Otherwise, the visualization just becomes abstract. It just becomes a kind of wibbly wobbly in a movie, and then we get lost in abstraction. Visualization then just becomes just like thought, just like we can get carried away in linguistic thoughts, stories. We can equally get carried away in visual thought, kind of movies. It takes some real capacity for clarity of mind and steadiness of mind to really do a visualization, to use visualization well as a meditative tool. So I would say, but you can see if your own experience, if you've done a bunch of visualization and it's been helpful or effective for you, then great. Feel free to ignore what I say in that case. But generally, I would say visualization isn't very powerful or helpful or effective if it doesn't have a basis of good, steady, embodied presence. Yeah. All right. Good. Nice to see some of your appreciative comments. Nice to see. Yeah. It's, I very, very often, I mean, 80%, 90% of the time I show up here, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know how I'll guide the meditation at all, really. It just sort of let it happen. So I was as surprised as maybe you were to, deep pool. Okay, deep pool awareness. I wondered, how's this going to link to what we were talking about before about personal circumstance and the vastness throughout that. And it's nice to see that was helpful. Lizzie asked, was Savina referring to the use of the word pool? Maybe, but I think I spoke to that a little earlier, right? If you have a visual sense of a vast pool, a dark pool, a pool of ripples, there may be a visual component to that. But a visualization is when you're putting the attention into trying to visualize a dark pool. Right? You may have a visual reference, but as I said earlier, it's like that 80% of your attention is going to sensing your belly, softening into your belly. And so it's not that we're trying to visualize a deep or dark pool. It's more that we're entering down into our belly as if it's a deep pool of awareness. Some people function more visually, some more linguistically, some more kinesthetically. So as you sense down into your belly, for some, the sense of pool in a visual sense might be stronger than for others, right? Just whether we're more visual or not. So, but however that is, right, let the visuals of pool, whether they feel strong or weak or whatever, let them be less significant than the feel of sensing into your belly, softening into your belly, opening up your belly, etc. And then again, the sense of ripples. We might have a sense of those ripples as a visual sense, or we might have them more as a kinesthetic sense, right? Just the dancing sensations, etc. All right. Yeah, yes. To answer your question, Lois, wouldn't the saying, the need for steady embodied presence, be true for linguistic thoughts? As a taught, yes, absolutely, absolutely. That's why we, give a lot of attention to just leaving thoughts alone, going back into a kind of more felt sense of presence. And then one can still use visual imagery, just like one can still use thoughts, right? Like I'm using thoughts when I speak in meditation, but the thoughts are just pointers. The imagery is just a support, right? So that just like with whether linguistic thoughts or visual thoughts, we're just using them as reminders or pointers or supports for the direct experience, the felt experience. All right. Looks like that's enough for now. Take care, friends. May you take good care of your personal circumstances this morning. May you enjoy favorable and fortunate circumstance. May you orientate to those around you with the wish for and in service of their fortunate and favorable circumstance. And may you see into the heart of all this personal circumstance in a way that allows it all to be ripples in a vast, infinite, naturally free awareness. See you tomorrow.